Let us turn now to the closing argument of the president and backed up by his family, which is on a day, and this happens almost every day now, when this country has crossed a new threshold, a new record for coronavirus cases. Yesterday, it was 90,728 new cases. And we are now seeing, as expected, a lagging rise in hospitalization rates and numbers and also deaths. So we are now, as of yesterday, was over 1,000 deaths, 1,004 deaths. And we are now, the deaths and the hospitalizations have now caught up. They're lagging indicators. The deaths we're seeing now were from new cases 4 to 5 weeks ago. And that means that these 90,000 cases, these new records that we're seeing now, are going to lead to more deaths down the road. Experts are now starting to warn, according to CNN, that the daily death rates will triple by mid-January. That, of course, is a function of what we do to mitigate the spread of the disease. But right now, it doesn't look so good. But here is Donald Trump with his final message for the country, which is, don't worry about it.
Riots they're having in France. The people are tired. They can't do it anymore. They can't do it anymore. They're losing their businesses. They're losing their jobs. They go back and the business is closed for 9 months. We can't do it anymore. They can't do it. We know the disease. We social distance. We do all of the things that you have to do. If you get close, wear a mask. Always controversial. It's not controversial to me. You get close, you wear a mask.
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. I just want to point something out that I think if you're watching this, you can see that is sort of, I don't know, what's the word here? You're, Matt, am I looking for? Is it ironic?
It's like some visual irony, I would say.
And in fact, this is like one of the first clips I've seen in a while where they don't seem to have made an effort to have people behind him wearing masks. Usually they make the people standing behind him or sitting behind him wear masks, so it looks like he's encouraging it. And then you look the camera shots of people around the entire stadium or wherever it is, they're not wearing masks. But in this instance, it appears that 80% of the people sitting behind him are not wearing masks. Let's see.
Not controversial to me. You get close, you wear a mask. Social distance, social distance. You know the bottom line, though? You're going to get better. You're going to get better. If I can get better, anybody can get better. And I got better fast.
Jeez.
They were so happy. They couldn't believe it. That was probably the happiest day that they've had in years. And then they came out of the hospital.
There you go. That was not apparently enough for the Trump campaign. That's the message, though. You're going to get better. You're going to get better. Wear a mask. I mean, but not in this specific instance. Here is Don Jr. that same day, or I should say now evening, on with Laura Ingraham on Fox News. He's very excited. He's got I feel like he gets a lot more energy in the evening. I don't know what that is. But I'll tell you. But here he is on Laura Ingram's show.
Out all the stops. Now honestly, the virus is attending the rally. Apparently they're waving flags too.
These people are truly morons. You know what I mean? And I like how they go after Scott Atlas because he's not an epidemiologist, but Sanjay Gupta now magically is. I mean, give me a break, Laura. The reality is this. If you look, I put it up on my Instagram a couple days ago because I went through the CDC data because I kept hearing about new infections. But I was like, well, why aren't they talking about deaths? Because the number is almost nothing. Because we've gotten control of this thing. We understand how it works. They have the therapeutics to be able to deal with this. If you look at that, look at my Instagram. It's gone to almost nothing. We're outperforming Europe in a positive way so well because we've gotten a hold of this. But they understand that
it's actually going the opposite direction. And apparently he has a graph on his Instagram that is, he's misinterpreting what the graph says. It's I don't know the details of it, but we can just, I'll reiterate the numbers that we're breaking new records almost every single day for infections. And we haven't broken new records for deaths, but it's certainly back up from where it was. We had, I think, about 300 or 400 fewer deaths a couple of months ago. And so he's out of his mind.
He was going to punch through the back of that chair. He was completely amped up. Like the way he was sitting, that his demeanor is just psycho. That's not... Gotta be cool, man.
He seems to have a lot of energy. I'll tell you, boy, if they could bottle that or, maybe put it in some type of vial that you could take.
Yeah, productivity would soar.
You'd make a lot of money selling that kind of energy.
It is interesting that now it seems like the Trumps really feel like Donald having gotten it and recovering is like the best thing that could have happened for them. Like it's this great boon.
Yeah, because it speaks to exactly who they go for is people who don't ultimately get affected by stuff. So they have this example that, hey, you can get this and not really be affected by it. I mean, I'm terrified of the effect it has in North Dakota. Like, I think a whole bunch of old people in North Dakota are being way more flagrant about stuff since Trump recovered.
I'd like to see that chart from when he got it to now and the rise in infection rate.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And it also is a wonderful metaphor as the stimulus talks completely break down. And that's it. And I should say this before, and we will get to Alex Perrine in a moment. I will say this about the stimulus. It is highly unlikely that if Joe Biden wins the election and the Democrats take the Senate, that we're going to see any type of COVID economic relief before February 1st. Maybe we'll see it in that first week, that last week of January. But the Republicans, I think, are going to go immediately into obstruction mode. And for some people, that's all well and good. Trump Jr., he walks around. He's not bothered by the lack of stimulus whatsoever. For millions of people who are facing eviction, who are running out of unemployment, who are thrust back into poverty, it is a much bigger problem. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's program is sponsored